And let me go straight to Milind Deora, Member of Parliament of the Shiva Sena Shinde faction, who's joining us live. Mr. Deora, controversial yet? Yes, you can say that Kunal Kamra's comment was controversial, distasteful perhaps as well. But why is the Shiv Sena getting so offended?
Hi, Maria. Firstly, thank you for having me. Firstly, at a personal level, let me say, and even on behalf of my party, we believe very firmly that in any society, comedy, humor is an integral part of any society, of any democracy. In fact, Mr Thackeray was, besides being a political activist, even before he became a political activist, was a well-known cartoonist. So using humor is not something that should upset anybody, number one. Number two, the method in which there is clearly an attempt to deviate attention from a recent litigation that was raised in the Bombay High Court against Aditya Thackeray clearly suggests that Kunal Kamra, the UBT party, were working together and they were basically doing this to take attention away. That's also their prerogative. If you ask me, is it distasteful what he said? In my opinion, it's very distasteful. It's also elitist and it's also classist. I've heard this many times for the last 12 or 13 years. When Narendra Modi ji became Prime Minister of India, at that time, people would mock the fact that he was a man who used to sell tea on a railway platform and could rise to become Prime Minister of the world's largest democracy. The same is true of Mr. Shinde. I'm proud of the fact that a man who was an auto rickshaw driver could rise up to become Chief Minister of the second largest state in the country. And it's not a question of are people, is Shiv Sena able to take an attack or not? We don't need a Kunal Kamra, Uddhav Thackeray to tell us what the people think of us or what they think of Mr. Shinde. We just completed a state election where under Mr. Shinde's leadership, the Maha-UP, the NDA, won a historic victory, an unprecedented victory, I might add. So no one is thin-skinned about that. And everyone has a right to humor, but certainly the kind of, if you saw my tweet, the kind of jokes that he was cracking were not just distasteful, but they were totally elitist and they were classist in nature. And I just think that there is a section of society of, there's an ecosystem of soft powers that rather than supporting people who've come from nothing and are embodiments of a rags to riches story, their aim is to bring them down in favor of entitled monarchs who run their parties like private limited enterprises.
But Mr. Deora, the question is that here is a comedian. I mean, satire is his form, is his artistry. Mocking is form of his communication. Kunal Kamra is a known stand-up comedian. He is not your political opponent. You are now saying that he is part of some larger political conspiracy to deviate from the attention from the Disha, case. Her father filing that petition in the court. That all right, but why indulge in this kind of vandalism? I mean, that is the question also.
Maria Shakti, let me just remind you about something. When Kunal Kamra did an interview with Sanjay Raut, who is a senior leader of the UBT party, are you aware of what he said to him? Can I tell you a few statements? I can read them out for you right now. When Kangana Ranaut's house was demolished by the UBT, when they were in power, and Sanjay Raut, Uddhav Thackeray, Aditya Thackeray openly said that this was done by us, proudly took credit for it. Kunal Kamra said, "Mere ko to acha laga, acha kiya." When he did an interview with Sanjay Raut, he wanted Sanjay Raut's autograph with the cutting of the Samna newspaper, the headline of that newspaper that had said "Ukhad diya" in Kangana's case. So now people who are celebrating, justifying demolitions, illegal demolitions, targeting people because those people have questioned them or those people have, as you said, used satire against them. They're the last people on earth who should criticize and protest. I want to tell you something. What happened yesterday at night was unfortunately a spontaneous reaction by Karyakartas. Today, Mr. Shinde has been in power as Chief Minister or Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra for maybe over 2.5 years. You show me one incident, Maria, one incident of violence by Shiv Sainiks under Mr. Shinde. Show me one incident where despite all the attacks he had to face, of one person who tweeted something against him, who was arrested. Mind you, one young boy just tweeted harmlessly, said Uddhav Thackeray is a penguin, and he was arrested by the government and sent 23 days in jail. Show me one incident of a journalist, of an editor of a channel, of a newspaper, being intimidated by Mr. Shinde was in power. What wasn't written about him when he made this move?
Okay.
When he moved away.
So, point taken. Point taken.
And by the way, what happened with this violence? You yourself in your report said that 11 or 12 Shiv Sainiks from our party were arrested, presented before the before a judge, and are now out on bail and FIRs have been registered on them. So what happened was a spontaneous reaction by Karyakartas. But you have to understand the difference between the way UBT was operating. When they were in power, they were openly proclaiming, warning people like Kangana Ranaut, those who tweeted against them, journalists, editors, owners, that we are coming after you, we are going to intimidate you, we are going to use the state machinery against you, and they did that. Okay. So these are the people, Kunal Kamra, Sanjay Rao, who celebrated, openly proclaimed, took credit for it, and today they are lecturing society on vandalism.
Okay, my last question. Since it is essentially what's playing out is Sena versus Sena again on this issue. Uddhav Thackeray had taken action against Kangana Ranaut. Here is this action being taken against Kunal Kamra because of his association with the Shiv Sena of Uddhav Thackeray as well. But Milind, you are known to be someone who celebrates humor. You have a funny bone as well. My question then is that, is the reaction misplaced as well?
That's a wrong assessment. It's not a Sena versus Sena. There is a fundamental difference between state and party-sponsored vandalism, a premeditated attack on people, and something which is a spontaneous reaction. As I said to you, in over 2.5 years of Mr. Shinde being in power, there is not one incident of violence. Not one incident of attacking someone using state machinery to intimidate somebody who has tweeted something against Mr. Shinde. He faced relentless attacks over the last 2.5 years. Not one incident. Not one incident of one leader saying, we have done this in a premeditated way. We are going to do this. We are going to threaten you. We are going to intimidate you. Okay. And that's a fundamental difference in the way that UBT operated when they were in power for 2.5 years in state government. So it's not a Sena versus Sena. There are two different views. We have a thick skin. We are more than willing to let people do what they want to do. It's my prerogative, like it's his prerogative, to call himself a comedian, to say something that you may think is distasteful, but I think is classist, or I think is crass. It's my prerogative to say that.
All right.
But people who have openly sponsored and taken credit for vandalism, including Kunal Kamra, who said that he wanted Sanjay Rao's autograph for what he did to harass a woman, who said that he was very happy about what happened when bulldozers were sent to a house illegally. These people have no right, unfortunately, to show a book of constitution, talk about democracy, speak against vandalism. And there is a larger trend at play, Maria, which I'm sorry, please allow me to highlight. And the fact that a person like him made fun and has repeatedly made fun, and there are many people like him, of people who have come from nothing and have actually strengthened democracy by showing that the top posts in our country, in Maharashtra, in the government of India, are not reserved for one individual, for one family, but that you can come from nothing and aspire to rise to the top.
Okay.
Only demonstrates to me that those political leaders who talk about meritocracy, talk about democracy, talk about the constitution being under threat, should first reflect and introspect on whether there is democracy, meritocracy within their own political parties.
All right. Milind Deora, pleasure having you on my show. Thank you so much for your time here.